Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the epitome. This story is the epitome of President Trump and United States politics, government reaching an impasse with a president that they don't know what to do with. The Secretary of the Navy was forced out because he wanted a secret agreement. He circumvented the Secretary of Defense. He didn't have to do this. Do you understand? He circumvented the Secretary of Defense in order to strike some kind of agreement or deal that would allow the United States Navy to remove the Trident and anything else they wanted to do in terms of retribution for a Navy SEAL that actually won and was exonerated in a trial. Eddie Gallagher, Navy SEAL, was accused of heinous crimes. According to PBS, this is why Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher was found not guilty. This is a transcript. Judy Woodruff, William Brangham, in addition to being found innocent, not guilty, innocent. So Chief Gallagher was innocent on the first charge. I mean, it's YouTube, so abiding by YouTube policies, I don't want to say certain words. The first accusation, which was horrendous, he was innocent of. The second accusation, which is also horrendous, he was found not guilty. So two major, grandiose allegations in a court of law, in a trial, the United States Navy could not prove, because they had no evidence other than people who said he did it. Well, that's not evidence. In addition to the fact that the United States Navy and the United States government withheld information and went after his defense attorney. And when any government, our government or any government wants you, they're going to try to get you any way possible. So, Chief Gallagher won. Now, the Navy Secretary, Spencer, he just couldn't leave it alone. You couldn't just take the loss. You had to go into the playoffs, or you had to go into the title game. Or I don't know, you had to force it. You couldn't just say, okay, the Orange Menace, he injected himself into this this thing, and you know what? This Navy SEAL didn't, in a court of law, the United States government, the United States Navy couldn't prove the horrendous, egregious, horrific allegations against him. Couldn't prove it. They could not prove it, but they wanted retribution. They wanted retribution. They wanted revenge. They wanted retribution to simply say, well, you know what? We're the military. We're the Navy. We're not going to let this guy get off, without experiencing at least something. So President Trump, he puts himself in the middle of everything and says, no, wait a second. You withheld evidence. You went after him. You went after his attorneys. You engaged in surveillance, unlawful. You did all of these things that were underhanded and shady and very dirty. For whatever reason, whether there was some kind of rivalry or some kind of friction, whatever reason, there were people that went after this officer. For whatever reason. OJ! Looks like you're freezing over there. Thank you, OJ. For whatever reason, they went after this man. They lost. President Trump said, no, he's going to retire with full benefits, and he's not going to be demoted, and he's going to keep his rank, and he's going to, you're not going to treat this man in an egregious manner, and we're not going to allow you to show malice or retribution. So the Navy, the Secretary of the Navy, he is in charge of the entire United States Navy. It's not enough. Do you understand? It's not enough. He's literally one of the most powerful men in the entire planet. The United States Navy, I don't know if this is apocryphal, but the United States Air Force has the largest Air Force. The second largest Air Force is the United States Navy. Second or third largest Air Force. You are basically in charge of more people. You're in charge of more, let's put it this way. The Secretary of the Navy puts the CEO of Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook, whatever. It puts Silicon Valley to shame in terms of his importance within the country. Sheldon! Thank you, Sheldon. Sheldon Hofstadter, thank you. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you for watching. So, it wasn't enough. Do you understand? They had to have retribution. They needed retribution. They needed to show that they still had one last word in. You couldn't end it. You understand? They couldn't end it because Trump, Trump, is the president, and he's not really worthy of being president, and he's not really the commander-in-chief, and he's not really, he's an orange menace. They entered the danger zone. They entered the Bermuda Triangle of orange madness. Do you understand? That the same place Al Franken and Eric Schneiderman and Juicy Smollier and who else? Everyone else. We can have a list. Stormy. We can have a list. Michael Cohen. We can have a list. Avenatti. We can have a list of all of these people who entered the Bermuda Triangle of Orange Madness. Inga Hicks! I wanted to ask how your children. They're doing fantastic. Kids are adorable. Thank you, Inga Hicks. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Inga Hicks. Thank you. They're doing great. I greatly appreciate it, Inga. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you, as always, for watching, Inga. Thank you, as always, for watching. And we're going to have a great year. I mean, my God. We're going to have a great year. Thank you, Inga Hicks. Thank you. Senderford and the entire planet. Are you a hollow earther in secret, Mr. Batman? Sanderford. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Sanderford, thank you. Inga, thank you so very much. Thank you for watching it in this time. Sanderford, thank you as always. So what happened was he wanted a secret agreement so we can read this. It wasn't enough. Do you understand? It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So they wanted retribution. Navy Secretary fired for proposing secret agreement. Why would you propose a secret agreement with the White House when you know that President Trump wants nothing to do with any type of he simply stated categorically he wants this Navy SEAL to be left alone. You couldn't leave it at that, could you? You had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So then what happened was, it's not so much that Navy Secretary Spencer reached out to the White House to try to get some kind of review going so they could go ahead and remove Chief Gallagher's Trident and, Lord knows whatever else. See, that's not why he got fired. He was forced out because he didn't abide by the chain of command, which was the Defense Secretary, Esper. So Esper's like, what? You know what? You're gone. You gone. He gone. It's like the White Sox announcer. In an extraordinary move, the Pentagon chief fired the Navy Secretary for going outside his chain of command by proposing a secret agreement with the White House. According to the agreement that led to Defense Secretary Mark Esper forcing Navy Secretary Spencer's resignation involved the case of Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher. So that's it. It's like no one realizes that he's president. I swear to you, they think this is all an anomaly. First last, I'm still watching sometime. Okay. I don't know what that word means. Thank you, first last. Thank you. But what took place, ladies and gentlemen, is he went above and beyond the chain of command, and he went around the chain of command, and instead of simply the Secretary of the Navy wanted to create to have some kind of agreement, strike some type of deal with the White House, saying, well, he wasn't found guilty and he was found innocent, but we don't like a photo he took. So under the guise of a photo, which he shouldn't have taken the photo, fine. But very well the president does not want you to very well the president does not want you to go after this guy. Very well the president doesn't want you to engage in any type of vendetta or retribution. So you trying to make a deal with the White House, you don't have any leverage. You're literally trying to leverage the commander-in-chief. Why would you do that? And in doing so, you circumvented the chain of command. You should have spoken to Defense Secretary Mark Esper. You didn't, so now you're gone. Who benefits from this? Only Trump and Chief Gallagher, the same person that the Secretary of the Navy tried to railroad. They withheld evidence. They engaged in a whole bunch of dirty tactics during the trial. There was a trial, and for these types of crimes, it's not that difficult to prove. It's really not that difficult to prove. You can look at U.S. history. You can look at The Hague. You can look at, crimes, against humanity throughout history. They're not difficult to prove. They're not. They're from Nuremberg to Rwanda to the former Yugoslavia to... They're not difficult to prove. To Miley, to, and all the people who are like, he took a photo. Well, yeah, he shouldn't have taken the photo. But also, Clinton and President Obama and Biden should not have engaged in a failed NATO intervention that completely ruined a country and destroyed a nation in Libya. That shouldn't have happened either. So which is worse? And that's not moral relativism. That's literally saying one thing is worse. You're not trying to make it morally relative. One thing is infinitely worse. And the same liberals who are like, oh my God. I mean, you have people like Bill Kristol who voted for Clinton who are trying to say that, oh, the honor of the military. Well, these people should not be sent to harm's way. Trace Luttinger, do you think Trump will drain the swamp even more once the impeachment investigations reach the Senate? I don't know. I think that Durham, Trace, thank you very much. I think that Durham's probe is going to go beyond the election. So Trace, I believe that this is going to take a year and a half, 2 years. I think we're looking at 2 years, at least. So it could be, but I mean, within a month, you had Bolton leave, and then you had the Secretary of the Navy leave, and people are like, "Oh my God, he's firing everybody." It's like, yeah, well, nobody wants him there, and he's going to be president, so they have to start treating him with respect, or at least acknowledging that he's president. My God, President Obama fired General Stanley McChrystal because of an article. I don't think he should have. Trace, thank you. Sandiford! Hollow Earth is the theory we all actually live inside a hollow sphere. I imagine most people who believe this also believe Clinton is honest. Sandiford! And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around string theory, which I believe is backed up by math, they say. Okay. Sandiford, thank you. Trace, thank you. Woke AF! Woke AF! Due to large cost overruns from past administration and contracting procedures that were not addressed to my satisfaction, Secretary of the Navy Spencer's service has been terminated. Wait, I gotta check. Did you move to New York? I thought it was 90 in SoCal. Krillin876. Thank you. Oh, my neck. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at Trump's Twitter. Impeachment has been an absolute failure. So they're not impeaching. They're going to. They might not even impeach Trump. Who knows? I was not pleased with the way the Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher's trial was handled by the Navy. He was treated very badly. Despite this, was completely exonerated of all major charges. I then restored his rank. Likewise, large cost overruns from past administrations' contracting procedures were not addressed to my satisfaction. Therefore, Secretary of the Navy Spencer's service had been terminated by Secretary of Defense Mark Esper. And by the way, he doesn't even have to give any reason. This is what the president can. President Obama fired a very good general in Stanley McChrystal. He was, he's said to be one of the great generals we've had in recent decades. He let him go because of I believe, a Rolling Stones article where people were apparently, allegedly, possibly drinking and talking. I don't think you let somebody go because of an article. Then you have somebody saying Trump is treasonous. What treason did he commit? He didn't work with Russia. Even that wouldn't be treason. It's just hilarious. The Democrats think that anything that hurts them politically is treasonous. They're hilarious. So I think Mr. Spencer for his service, or Secretary Spencer for his service and commitment. Eddie will retire peacefully with all the honors he has earned, including his Trident pin. Why would you try to take his Trident pin away? My God. Why would you do it? Why would you do it? That's the question. And now Ambassador to Norway Ken will be nominated by me as the new Secretary of the Navy. Ken Braithwaite. A man of great achievement and success. I know Ken will do an outstanding job. Well, there you go. Mess with the bull, get the horns. Well, I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, he's president. Get used to it. Get used to it. He's president. He's president. There's nothing you can do to change it, you know. There's nothing you can do to change it. Oh, hold on now, sir. Did I miss a super chat? Eric H526! Eric! Thank you, Eric, as always. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very, very... I got the message. Eric, thank you very, 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 very much. Greatly, 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 greatly appreciated, Eric. And everyone subscribe to Eric's channel. He does great work. If you're into gaming, he does great work. But this is an example, ladies and gentlemen, of a person who was... This is an example of a person who was railroaded, really, by... Something went on. There were factions, rivalries. Something went on within his community. Something went on. And these are elite soldiers that we send to battle and protect us from the most horrendous and dangerous people on the planet. We send them off to never-ending quagmires and interventions and places where we shouldn't be anymore. 20 years is enough. 10 years was enough. 5 years was enough. 3 years was enough. 2 years was enough. Daniel Bulger wrote a book. I think it was Bulger. Wrote a book. General Daniel Bulger wrote a book called Why We Lost. And he said the United States military is meant for quick, decisive military victories. Quick, decisive military victories. We win and we go out. We leave. We win and we leave. We don't win and then stay forever, because then that's not winning. The United States military is meant to achieve a military victory. If that military victory achieves a diplomatic victory or a political victory or a geopolitical victory, that's a different story. We're supposed to win a military victory and then leave. We're not supposed to be places forever. So we've been the civilians have been misusing the courage and bravery and sacrifice of men and women, American men and women. People worry about Medicare for all and climate change. It's like, no, the biggest issue is sending Americans off to never-ending conflict and just saying, well, you know, we'll keep them there, not thinking of their families, their kids, their children, their sons, their daughters, their wives, their husbands, their fathers, their mothers, their families, their friends, not thinking of what it will do to these men and women when they come back. And we owe not just a great debt of gratitude for everything they've done to protect us, but we owe it to them not to send them to these horrible places fighting horrible people forever. That's the point. That's why Democrats can't stand Tulsi Gabbard. That's why Democrats can't stand Trump. They think that they're ordained by God to just send Americans off forever because Bill Kristol was so right about everything and Max Boot has been so correct. These are people who stand by objective failures. American foreign policy has been two sides of the same coin between Bush and President Obama. And our foreign policy has been an absolute failure. President Trump, within 3 years, begins a process of peace between North and South Korea to where people were talking about reunification of Korea. Within 2 years or so, he's done things that we never imagined. He's scaling back U.S. foreign policy. He's doing things that you never imagined. He's doing things that you never imagined, but he's orange. Do you understand he's orange? Do you understand this is a big problem? Forget about the fact that a Navy SEAL was wrongfully accused and he was exonerated in a court of law. Forget about the fact that he was not guilty and innocent of the heinous charges that Trump is orange. That's all you need to know. If you are orange, that's it. You can't be taken seriously by all the wonderful people who have run the country, possibly into the ground. They went into the Bermuda Triangle of orange madness. Their hubris. I mean, his thing, and you know what's probably the case? The Secretary of the Navy, Spencer, probably said, I'm the Secretary of the Navy. I am one of the most influential people in the entire country. The most powerful Navy on planet Earth. I run the most powerful Navy, the greatest Navy perhaps the world has ever seen. In terms of, we have, 11 aircraft carriers? I think Russia and China only have 2 apiece. We have 11. We control the seas and the oceans. We control everything. And he probably said to himself, well, it's no big deal. I'm Secretary of the Navy. What's going to happen? I have the right to kind of talk to the president. I'm sure if Trump takes away a little bit of the orange from his face, from his hair, maybe some reason will seep in instead of that orange goop he puts on himself. I'm Secretary of the Navy. I'm going to go talk to him. What's the problem? I don't have to speak to Esper. When he was in diapers, I was, doing amazing things. But then he messed up. Why did he mess up? Because that's a chain of command that he should have understood. He also, the spirit of what was going on, it's obvious that President Trump did not want anything more to do with the Navy messing with Eddie Gallagher. That's obvious. But, they couldn't take the loss. They couldn't take the L. It's not in their nature. They're a bureaucracy of gigantic, mammoth, monumental proportions. And nobody is going to intervene on behalf of one soldier. So we're going to get our say, and we'll take his Trident. But you know what? Trump said no way. You're not gonna remove the Trident. He's earned it. He's done things that nobody else in the United States of America could even think of doing. We've sent him there because of Democrats who, people like Bill Maher. It's unbelievable. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna gift countries to Russia. It's what does it matter? What do we care about Russian foreign policy? They're the 12th ranked economy in the world. They couldn't even take over Dallas or, New York or LA or whatever. Any major US city, they would lose money. They're not going to invade any major, any country that's not bordering them. They're not going to invade Poland, so they're not going to invade any other country. They are very important in terms of energy, and Europe, in general, the European Union gets through at 30% of their natural gas from Putin, so they're a player in the world stage. Sorry, deal with it. Oh, well, you know what? The Russians want that country, and so that country has no strategic interest. We have no reason being there. We have to be there. We have to be there. It's like, it's unbelievable. President Obama came in with a Russian reset. He told Mitt Romney the 80s want their foreign policy back. You know. By the way, Clinton's running again. Did I tell you that? Michael Moorhead! Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Exactly. But Drake, yes. I did a forensic analysis on that, and it was Chris Matthews. Let's check out H.A. Goodman's other channel, everybody. But it's just unbelievable. Like, this is just another example of people within the United States government not believing that Trump is actually president and that he can actually run the executive branch in the manner he chooses, and that he's actually the commander-in-chief. And the funny thing about it also is that, you know, the contempt for Trump, he's the Obi-Wan Kenobi of politics. This election, by the way, is the MC Breed election. MC Breed, one of the great rappers of the 90s, one of the great musical artists and rappers of all time. Ain't No Future in Your Frontin'. That's his song. He also had a great song with Tupac. But there ain't no future in your frontin' if you're Democrats. So don't pretend. Don't pretend. Don't pretend you're something you're not. But of course, Democrats do. Eric Swalwell, by the way, has a song. It's Ain't No Future in Your, and then you could fill in the blank there. I mean, look, you know, the thing is, the hilarious part of all of this is seeing the outrage like every single day. It doesn't ever stop. Like, you would think that, look, at a certain point, I didn't want to admit that Tom Brady was the best quarterback of all time. And I'm wearing this Jets hat because I have Todd, the Buckeyes are good. Trojans won against UCLA. That amazing 500 yards from Keaton Slovis. Amazing. But I'm not a Jets fan or a Packers fan. I mean, I like the Packers, but I just had like I always say, I got this. I got like a whole bunch of NFL beanies, like 75% off. Anyway, that's why I wear all different types of teams. So I'm not representing. But at a certain point, I had to admit that Tom Brady was the greatest quarterback of all time. I didn't want to admit that. So, to me, you know, Joe Montana, Marino, let's say Joe Montana for me was the greatest quarterback of all time. So, but then 6 Super Bowls, and like every single season he's dominating. And it's like you can't, when you win 6 Super Bowls, Montana has 4. And I think that, I believe Brady has won more games. So it's like, how do you not admit? So the point is, what's the point? There are people who don't want to admit things. You have to admit eventually that Trump is president. You might not like it. You might wake. There are people who wake up every single day and they look at Trump's tweets, and it's like the person in a Friday the 13th or a Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street movie that, you know, that they just have to open the door. They have to open the door into the attic, They just have to go down the attic for some reason. There's no reason to go down, but they're going to do it anyway. And you're telling them, don't do it. Jason is there. Don't do it. Nothing good will come of this. Nothing good will come of this. Woke AF. I will give you $20 more if you remove Bela Lugosi from your collage. He's creeping me out. Oh, woke AF. I would do that, but you gotta love Bela Lugosi though. Woke AF. He's the best Dracula. Sandiford. Eric Swalwell. Yeah. Well, I think it was Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews was the culprit. Woke AF, thank you. Thank you very, very much. You gotta love Bela Lugosi. Thank you. Woke AF, thank you. But, it's like they wake up every single day and anything, any headline, any story, any gossip, any hearsay, any innuendo, any conjecture, any social media negative comment about Trump, anything. And they're anything that goes on, and they're saying, well, this is Trump is about to get removed. Trump worked with Russia. Trump did this with Stormy. Trump did this with campaign finance. Trump did this and that and this and that and this and that. And at the end of the day, he eats hamburgers, and he goes to bed eating cheeseburgers, and can you see what he did? And he's so divisive. Meanwhile, the most divisive, the people with the most vitriol, the people with the most anger issues, the people with the most contempt, the most insidious, the most filled with just negative, sinister emotions, are people on the left, and they do it to themselves first, and then they go after Trump and Trump supporters. But they don't even really go after Trump supporters. They just, they say, Muffles! Please to eat 2 scoops when Trump wins the 2020 HA. Muffles, thank you. Please to eat 2 scoops when Trump wins 2020 HA. Thank you so very, very, very much. Thank you, Muffles. Thank you very, very, very much. Muffles, thank you. Thank you. Christopher Hitchens, one of the people I admire most in literature. I love Christopher Hitchens. And even though, I'm agnostic, I'm Jewish, and I do believe God exists, although I, philosophically more agnostic than anything else. But from a theological perspective, I tend to believe that God exists. But Hitchens, the book God Is Not Great, is a great book. Great book. And Christopher Hitchens has a book on George Orwell. Great book. And Christopher Hitchens has a lot of great books. A lot of great. Love Hitchens. Love him. We need Muffles. Thank you so very much, Muffles. We need Christopher Hitchens today. Oh my God, he would be viewed as a monster. He would be viewed as a monster on social media. An absolute monster. Because he would eviscerate all of them. And, thank you, Muffles. Thank you so very, very much. The great thing about Christopher Hitchens was that whatever vantage point that he took, he was genuine. There was nothing duplicitous or disingenuous about him. And yes, he did not like either Bill or Hillary. And that's one of the great things about him. He wasn't right about everything. But who is? Who is? We need him more than ever today. He never got offended. He said, you know what? If you're offended, that's your problem. So, could you imagine Mafiels and everybody here? Thank you so very much, Mafiels, for your generosity. Thank you, as always. Could you imagine Christopher Hitchens critiquing the progressives in Congress? Could you imagine? Thank you, Franklin. Thank you. Could you imagine Christopher Hitchens? I mean, I don't think that he would have done backflips for Trump, but he definitely would have seen the sinister element of what's taking place. He would have totally called out the Russia hoax. He would have totally called out. He would have totally called out even this impeachment. Independents have had enough of the impeachment. They're tired. Lyle, thank you. They're tired. They're tired of impeachment. Democrats every day, we're going to impeach Trump. Go and do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. We're going to impeach Trump. Did you see what Sondland said? Did you see what Fiona Hill said? Do it. What are you waiting for? You're going to do it anyway. You're going to try to. And it won't work out. Nothing they do. Nothing. They are constantly on the 1 yard line. They are constantly on the 1 yard line getting stuffed by the orange middle linebacker. Stuffed. It's like 11 Ray Lewises. No, it's like every D lineman is Reggie White. Every linebacker is Ray Lewis. And every DB is Ronnie Lott. That's Trump. And they're handing the ball to Nadler. He ain't going to jump over. Nadler isn't Walter Payton. Walter Payton and Jim Brown, two best football players of all time. President Trump is like every D lineman, Reggie White, every linebacker, Ray Lewis, every defensive back, Ronnie Lott. So how are you going to score? Tell me how you score from there. Tell me how you do that. Mafiels, thank you so very, very much. As always, thank you. And you know what I don't like also? The self-righteous indignation. Somebody should let people on the left know, I don't care what you think. I don't care. Nobody cares. I think this is outrageous. Good for you. Have fun. I don't care. I am very disappointed in your political opinion. I don't care. Oh my God. Oh my God. And it's 40 minutes in. It's 45 minutes in. So just let me indulge. Let me indulge. Yes, 44 minutes in. So anyway, Clinton's running. I don't care if she skips Iowa or New Hampshire, or if she's in Iowa and New Hampshire. I don't care if she doesn't file paperwork. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. The rules do not apply to Madam Secretary. Say it a million times. There are no rules for Madam Secretary. There is no Democratic Party. It's a political machine run by me and my wife. Oh, what? Oh, my God. Look what Trump did again. He upended the apple cart. Secretary of the Navy, what's next? What's next, Trumpy? You just wait till my wife becomes Democratic nominee. You know, when it happens, people are going to be, oh, how would you know? How were you supposed to know? Biden, he nobody could predict that space Martians would come in a spacecraft and launch Biden into outer space? How could you predict that?
I didn't predict that, but I knew something was going to happen. I don't know.
I'm not saying that the Martians had anything to do with Clinton. No, Lord knows they would never have that. That would be a coincidence. What are you talking about? It's a coincidence. Everything's a coincidence. I could never have known that, but guess what? I knew it.
They're not going with Biden. How do I know?
Inga Hicks! H. Thank you, Inga Hicks. Thank you. Thank you, Inga Hicks. Thank you, as always. You know, it's like, let's look, Joe Biden. Hunter is actually, there are a lot of great things going on with Hunter Biden. A lot of great things. He's a great guy. Stand-up guy. He's a stand-up gentleman. Biden is struggling in Iowa, and his supporters there know why. What, two of them? Two of them? All three supporters in Iowa? What kind of person do you have to be a Biden supporter? Like, so you look at the polls and you say, well, this is looking good for us. It's looking fantastic. Well, KF. Like, there's never any good press about Biden. Biden is struggling in Iowa. If you're struggling in Iowa and you're the front runner, what does that say about you? Okay? Dear Joe Biden, this is hilarious. Oh, I knew it! I knew I'd be vindicated! Dear Joe Biden, stand up to Trump or you'll lose me in the coming impeachment showdown. If you're not going to fight this flat-out nonsense as many times as it takes, why should I believe you're the best prepared to take on Trump? This is an article. Since I get more messages from Team Biden than from my own family members, I've been repeatedly invited to answer the question they've asked everyone on Joe's mailing list. Did I make you proud? He doesn't even ask that. He sent, did I make you proud? He sent it actually before the last debate, even before the debate was over, like in the morning, like hours before it started, he sent it. This is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. Mafiels, thank you again. Mafiels, thank you. A, no, sir, you did not make me proud. And I'm not even talking about that disastrous line about punching. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Though I do wish you'd leave the fake pugilism to President. This is actually really good. The fake pugilism to President Donald Trump. So we don't start to suspect that both of you still think everything could be settled after class out in the high school parking lot. Wait. Nor am I talking about the... Okay, not showing strength to beat Trump. You're losing me, Mr. Vice President, because on and off the debate stage, you have yet to explain in a couple clear, crisp sentences why the way Republicans talk about you and your son Hunter and the Ukrainian energy company Burisma is a flat-out false, which it is. Here's a little newsflash. It's not, and that's why he doesn't talk about it, okay? So I love, the Biden supporters are like, why don't you just tell them? Exactly. There was nothing going on with Burisma.
Maybe because there was. That's why he can't say anything.
If you're not going to stand up against this day in and day out nonsense, Why again should I believe you are the best prepared to take on the anti-democratic nightmare known as President Trump? Yeah! Touchdown, Trump! Anti-democratic nightmare. Can't we just investigate him based on a dossier Clinton purchased, and can't he just leave us alone with that?
No. Sorry. He's gonna fight back.
Like Eddie Gallagher fought back. Remember the old show Fight Back? People would buy like a sewing machine that didn't work or a microwave that didn't work, and they would go back to the store, and it was a good show. Mitchell Smith! AJ, wondering how much confusion and chaos there is as Dems decide whether to impeach or not. Excellent work as always. Thank you, Mitchell. I would be very surprised if they didn't impeach, although they're realizing Mitchell Smith, they barked up the wrong tree. They went into the ring with Mike Tyson, and they said, even the $10 million's not worth it. If you were given $10 million to fight Mike Tyson, and you get in, you're like, no, maybe it's not worth, the $10 million. You go in. Or Deontay Wilder, great, one of the hardest punchers of all time. Deontay Wilder, great American boxer, heavyweight champion of the world. Mitchell Smith, along with Andy Ruiz, the other heavyweight champion of the world. Mitchell Smith, thank you. Muffies! Do you think Buttigieg is going to be a dark horse or serious contender in the future? Sticks thinks the Dems are making a mistake ignoring him. I agree with Sticks, Muffies. They are making a big mistake. But he's an establishment candidate, and the progressives don't like him. And the establishment candidate is already Biden, and this whole thing is to pave the way for Clinton. She already met with Buttigieg. And I think that he's going to be one of the, influential power players in the Democratic Party, Muffies, in the future, going forward. He might run for governor or Congress, representative, or senator. He has issues in South Bend, Indiana, regarding the police department there. And these are major, major issues. And I don't think that you can, you can't be a centrist or a, more of a, traditional liberal unless you're Biden paving the way for Clinton. Clinton is, if you notice, everyone below Warren and Sanders and Bernie are another version, because what's the difference between Buttigieg and Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and Klobuchar? There isn't a difference. There isn't really a difference. There isn't really a difference, Muffies. So the whole this election, everyone, Muffies, everyone here, all 340 people, this election is more rigged than 2016. 2016 was rigged. This election is far more rigged because there are no choices. The only choice that they had, Tulsi Gabbard, is now a Russian operative who's a Trump supporter. So there you go. Michael Moorhead heard the FISA process can be used against those same former officials who started this. Yeah. That's true. Michael Moorhead, that's true, but I would hope that Trump wouldn't engage in that, and I'll tell you why. There are so many people within Trump's government right now who are just waiting to push for Clinton 2020. So, Muffies, here's another reason why they'll never go with anyone other than Clinton. If you type in, let's say, Warren or Bernie or Buttigieg, you're not going to get the glowing articles, headlines. Okay, here he has an issue, and it's not just about name recognition with key demographics within the Democratic Party. It's according to CNN. Okay, so Biden is having trouble in Iowa. Buttigieg and everyone else are having trouble in Super Tuesday. And when you type in Elizabeth Warren, her campaign is basically done, from the failed DNA test to the failure in communicating Medicare for all. Here, then she said that her kid went to public school and he went to private school. So there you go. It's like they can't be honest with who they are. It's ain't no future in your frontin'. They're always fronting. They're always pretending. This is the MC Breed election. Bernie Sanders is upset at Bloomberg. Well, okay. Bloomberg doesn't care. So he's paving the way for Clinton. So listen, God bless this person. In Salon right now, quit saying that Bernie can't win. He may be the most electable Democrat running in 2020. So I was saying that endlessly. And, I was like, the worst person who's ever existed times 20. 5,000. Now let's look at Madam Secretary Hillary Clinton. Look, Hillary Clinton asks Republicans if they will place Trump above the law. Oh, don't you love this? I love it. Look, you got to give Madam Secretary 10 Academy Awards. 10 Academy Awards. Mafiels and everyone else here, 10 Academy Awards. People really think she's not running, even though she hasn't closed the door. God bless her. Oh my God, she is doing such a fantastic job. Trump DOJ officials on 20,000. Trump DOJ officials, and they said that the Russians were trying to get Clinton. So what? Who cares if Trump's DOJ official or his intelligence community says the same thing as the previous administration? Why would that? That's the one thing they believe from Trump's administration. What suits them? I love it. I gotta tell you something also, people. I actually I find I find Bloomberg quite amusing, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I find him very amusing. Because he's like, I'm just going to run for president, and I'm going to spend about, $30-40 million on ads. But, it's all to just, pave the way for his friend, Madam Secretary. So he officially joins the 2020 field. Michael Bloomberg joins 2020 Democratic field for president. Michael Bloomberg brings a huge personal fortune. He officially joined. Do you understand? He's not. This is hilarious. He's paving the way for Clinton. Does anyone on the planet believe that Bloomberg or Biden or Warren or Bernie are going to become Democratic nominee? Now, in 2024, Buttigieg could become Democratic nominee, but not with Clinton running the show. But actually, 2024, Clinton's going to run again. I'm serious about this. Tell everyone I say this because it's true. Hillary Clinton will run in 2024. So that's going to happen.
And she doesn't care if people don't want her to run. That's a whole other thing,
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very much, Mafiels. Thank you so very, very, very much. Mafiels, to my super chat. Thank you. Bloomberg has entered. God bless Chief Eddie Gallagher. He was wrongfully accused, and you have to make that conclusion based on a trial where the entire weight of the United States Navy could not prove something that generally is not difficult to prove. The heinous crimes that he was accused of are generally not that difficult to prove. And in this context, God bless the memory of Hugh Thompson, Larry Colburn, and Glenn Andreotta. Hugh Thompson, Larry Colburn, Hugh Thompson Jr., Larry Colburn, and Glenn Andreotta. 3 of the most courageous Americans of all time who helped stop the My massacre. And I say it, God bless them, within the context, and, well, their memory 100%, but within the context of what Eddie Gallagher was accused of, which he did not do, according to the trial that exonerated him. He was wrongfully accused. So, when the United States government, I think if you wrongfully accuse somebody, you know, you're overlooking the heroism of the 3 men that I spoke of. You cannot, this is a serious issue. So what Hugh Thompson and Larry Colburn and Glenn Andreotta did was the epitome of valor and courage in stopping an atrocity and actually preventing that from taking place. And then what they did against Eddie Gallagher is they pretended to be those 3 men. But in reality, they were not. They were just a machine trying to railroad and steamroll one person. One person fought back. He won. Then they tried to take his Trident away, and he fought back again. President Trump intervened again and said, no, you don't. And the Secretary of the Navy was fired over this. Because they couldn't leave well enough alone. It's unbelievable. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving week. I'll see you tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen,